Welcome to the little wood shop again. So for this week we've got a load of little small jobs to do quickly and get done. But first I want to get the top fixed to the table, the little coffee table, get the dowels in, finish the hand sanding as well as the hand sanding on the little on the chair, so that I can get that varnished by the weekend coming. So all I'm doing is I'm just clearing the holes, make sure there's no glue squeeze out everywhere. Put new dowels in and then I'm going to sand them. The top I'm going to fix with normal Z-clips or what we call tabletop clips. And then we can finish the hand sanding on this. So guys, grab a cup of coffee. Let's make some dust. Another quick project we have to do is for Jan Kutsia, my friend the artist. I must make a box. It's about 750 by 650 and it's only 80 millimeters high. The inside must be 60 millimeters high. It's for another art installation or art project that he's busy with at the moment. So I'm going to take this nice piece of Kiat, because all of his previous projects is from Kiat, and I selected one that's all brown. It's a very nice piece of Kiat. I'm just going to plane it down to 20 millimeters because that's all my dado stack can do on finger joints. Because we're going to quickly make some finger joints on this and get this done. So now I just need to quickly rip this up into 80 millimeter strips or 8 centimeters. I'm going to get 2 out of this, so I should get the whole box done with this, just this one piece of wood. There we are. You've all seen me cut finger joints with a dado stack before on the table, so I'm not going to bore you with that. Then I just cut a 6mm slot in the bottom, 60mm from the top, and I cut the piece of MDF 6mm that I had available. I'm not going to go buy a new sheet of plywood because then this thing will cost more than what it's worth. So I just used what I had for the bottom. I'm now going to quickly glue it and then put it aside. So Jan's box is done, and just to prevent the bottom from sagging when you put something inside of it, I decided to, on the bottom side, just put another brace. So I've measured the thickness I need. I'm going to set my table saw and then just cut a piece of offcut Kiat and add that to the bottom to stop it from sagging in the center. I usually set the blade to just above the surface of whatever I'm cutting, just in case you get kickback or something, to minimize the amount of damage you get. to your fingers. The length of the brace I don't measure in the center because of the length they tend to bow sometimes, and I didn't glue the base to the sides, so I measure on the ends or on the sides, double check on the other side. That's got an exact match, because if you look at here, see that actually one is bowed to the inside. Quickly cut that. There we are. She's now in the glue and ready for tomorrow's varnish. So once I start varnishing the chair and the little table outside, I'll also varnish this with that. Bit of sanding, bit of filling, then this is ready for tomorrow. Next project that we need to do quickly is for books. We need another little box. We've already built 2 of them. So I've just quickly planed down some cedar wood that I have to 12 millimeters. And the inside diameters of this box must be 140 millimeters wide, 100 millimeters deep, and then a height of 70 millimeters inside diameter. So I'm quickly going to cut that up and build another box. So guys, the same as last time, I've cut the 4 sides. I've done the chamfers on the router table the same as last time with a 45-degree chamfer bit. Just cut a rebate in the bottom to accept the 6mm MDF that I've got. So now this is also just glue and clamp. Guys, the way I cut the lid of a box that I've built, and the reason for doing that is just grain match. So I set the distance from my fence where I want to cut the lid off, and I set the height of my blade just past the thickness of the maximum thickness of my side stock. I then cut one side through, turn it 90 degrees, cut another side, and then when I flip it over, I will put the spacer in and just put a clamp. And the spacer is 3 millimeters, just as wide as the curve of my blade. Let me show you. One I just want to get out quickly is I just want to glue up this for a customer. He wants to make a tabletop of the white oak. There's a few problems here that bothers me a little bit. I have to cut quite all the edges straight quickly. Just get them nice and square and straight for the glue up, and then I'm just going to biscuit them 150 millimeters apart, the biscuits. But one of the major things that bother me at the moment is the fact that 2 of the boards are quarter sawn and 2 of the boards are plain cut. I don't know if you can see it from that end. Quarter sawn means the grain runs in flats, and plain cuts, the grain runs in the longs. Normally I wouldn't glue that up. I would like to put the woods all either quarter sawn or plain cut, but this is what the customer gave me and this is what we're going to work with. Also changes colors. You'll see the quarter sawn is nice and brown oak or white oak, where the plain cut looks more almost like a red oak. I'm just going to quickly with a track saw, just going to straighten the edges, and then see how nicely we can get them. Another quick note, guys, while we have this here, to show you what the difference can be between quarter sawn and plain cut woods. If you look at the quarter sawn 2 pieces, they're nice and flat, very straight, whereas both of the plain cuts, the one plain cut is very twisted and the other one is bowed, as in bent, shall I say. So quarter sawn usually more expensive but really worth it. Cut all of the edges with the track saw, and as you can see I get a very nice joint. I'm just now going to quickly put it through the planer to get rid of this divot that's in here. The rest of it is sandable, but this is a bit deep and I'll have to put it through just to get rid of this little hole. And I would like to have all the planks or all the parts the same thickness. So I'm just going to put all 4 of them through the planer quickly, and then we'll start with the biscuit. So I've put all of them through the planer quickly to get them the same size. I started off at 24 millimeters and I managed to take off less than a millimeter to get rid of that one spot that was in the oak. The more I work with this, the more I think 2 of them is red oak and 2 of them is white oak. The smell of the wood and the way they work definitely tells me these 2 is red oak and not white oak. So what I've done now is I lined up the one edge as close to perfect as possible, and then I marked 100 millimeters from the edge my first biscuits, and then 150 millimeters from there. I don't want the biscuit too close to the end, because when I trim and square up the top later, I don't want to cut into a biscuit. I put more biscuits in this case because the red oak, according to me, both of them are a bit bent, so I want some more support. The 2 white oaks is very flat, very nice, but in total we're going to put 24 biscuits quickly. I'm just going to cut the biscuit joints, and then we'll glue it up. For a quick check, guys, what I've done is now, after I cut the biscuit holes, I've put biscuits in all the gaps, holes, and put the top together the way I want it, and just put a clamp on to make sure I didn't cut any shallow biscuit joints. I've done that before. So now I'm happy with the finish or with the end result, and I can put glue. So that's now the top in the clamps. All the biscuits are in, 24 biscuits in, and I used almost every clamp I've got. Put some coils on each side and one in the center just to stop it from bowing. And then I also staggered my clamps, one on the bottom, one on the top, one on the bottom, one on the top, over the width of the table. I've got a coil on this side, one on that side and one in the center to stop it from bowing, as I said. And let's see how she ends up. Guys, back to the oak top that we're laminating for a customer. I managed to get it nicely 1.2 meters square now. So I've cut the back side and the two sides square. I just need to cut this piece off, and I don't know if you can see there, we have a bit of bark inclusion there that I have to get rid of, otherwise the customer won't be able to route or to get a nice edge on it. So I'm just gonna mark as far as I can go, as close as I can go to that. The customer wants anything bigger than 660 millimeters, so that ends up at about 720 millimeters. So he's got lots of spare left. So I'm going to cut it now square off again with a track saw, and then quickly put this through the drum sander to get rid of the glue marks, the squeeze out. And as you can see, the difference between the two center planks, which is quarter sawn, and the difference between the sides, which is plain sawn. I'm still of the impression that this is red oak and this is white oak, because you see lots of the reflex in the white oak and there's nothing of the reflex in the sides. So I'm sure this is red oak and these two is white oak. That's what we were given, that's what we do it with. So quickly gonna cut this off and then we go to the drum sander. So guys, that's my part of the top now done. The customer would like to sand and router and whatever's do himself. The drum sander made a huge difference. I love the drum sander because you get a very even finish, whereas with the orbital sander or hand sander you always get a bit of waviness in the wood. And now I'm 99.9% sure that this is red oak and white oak after it's been sanded. As you can see, there's a huge color difference, but I think it makes actually quite a nice top. That's the top done. So guys, that's the end of another week. As you can see, the little chair and the coffee table, they got their first coat of polyurethane on. I decided on the polyurethane just for protection only. So tomorrow I'll give it a quick flat with steel wool and then give it a second coat and then a third coat, then they will be done. That should be finished by tomorrow afternoon. Our artist friend Jan's box or tray is finished. The finger joints came out very nicely and I think he will be able to use this for his art display. This is going to Johannesburg for an art exhibition in I think October. With the rest of the stuff, if you remember correctly, we made him some easels and some book boxes. This is going as part of that, apparently, I think. The top I glued together for a customer. The oak came out amazing. It's very nice. And here's the tool of the week, is of course the drum sander. In South Africa they're ridiculously expensive, but if you can find one second hand somewhere, they're affordable. New, almost, it's ridiculous, it's expensive. I bought mine second hand and I promise you it's not a machine that works every day. It works now and then, but for a project like this, it's absolutely amazing. If you the finish you get off a drum sander, it's absolutely smooth, whereas with an orbital sander you tend to get unevenness in the top. If you have a starting point which is very even and you concentrate and you work nicely with the orbital sander, you can keep it flat from here. It's a good starting point for the customer. Just to show you, I don't know if you can see the joint there. That's actually one of the pieces I've cut off the end of this top. I used the Alkaline Ultra glue and it is amazingly strong. It is very, very strong, and there's no biscuit in the first end. If you remember, I put the first biscuit 100mm from the end so that I don't cut into it. They are very strong. According to Alkaline, the Ultra compares to the Type Bond 3 that you get in America, and I must say I'm happy with it. It glues very well. I left it for 48 hours before I took it out the clamps and started sanding and working on it, and I think that helps a lot. Sometimes we have too much of a rush, so give it some time, let it cure properly before you start working on it. Really worth it. We made for Bix a little box that he will now put the hinges on, sand it and finish it. He must also make the little inserts inside on his laser cutter for cartridges, bullets. So that is ready for Bix and he can now come collect it. For the customer, I don't know if you remember, a week ago about, I made a little jig to bend the perspex with out of MDF. The MDF didn't work. The hinges tore out of the MDF, it's not strong enough. So I made him another one, and we changed the design a little bit, whereas we made the notch for the perspex 28mm deep, and then the small 8mm will then bend to the front. I've put longer and thicker screws in, and I used ply, as you can see, to see if we can get more strength into it and if they can get the job done. He will probably collect this tomorrow and then let me know if it's going to work. Then Kunrad helped me to upholster or put a new life into the seat of the little chair. Came out very nicely, thank you Kunrad. And then also Kunrad did most of the wire brushing on the little bench. That is now done. We're just waiting for the customer for a final answer on the finish he wants on it. I think we're going to use the Rubio Super White. If I look at the type of finish he's looking, that's about the shades he needs. So we'll try that. We've sent the pictures of a bunch of samples we made, and we're just waiting for a final decision. So guys, it was a nice week, it was a busy week. It's better now in the evenings, it's warmer, not so cold, so we get a few more hours in during the night, and then also during the weekend lots more hours in, so the weather is nice. Guys, thank you for watching. Enjoy the week ahead, but most of all, stay safe, stay healthy.